Hello, Namaskar, welcome, Swagatam. Welcome to this live stream, another author interview. So, with TLB, the Digital City, this is the 25th episode of author interview, and with us we have another dynamic author. Let us welcome author Renuka Nair. She is she used to be a banker, and now she is an author, she is a tutor, she has a lot of things under her belt, and now she has written two novels. The first one called The Nights Are Alive, and the second one called The Life Comes a Full Circle. So let us welcome Renuka ji with us in TLB, the Digital City. Renuka, very warm good evening, and please introduce yourself to the audience and let us begin our conversation today.
Thank you, Dr. Atul, and thank you, viewers, for taking time out. So, I am Renuka Nair. I was born and raised in Mumbai, and I came to Vadodara after I got married. And my first job was teaching C++. Then I moved into banking, and I quit the bank around a decade ago and started my own coaching institute. And I also started writing after that. And being living in a city, Vadodara, which is in Gujarat, it gave me a lot of work-life balance. So I was able to devote time to my creativity, and my writing, brought me in touch with so many interesting people, including Dr. Atul, whose book I have read and reviewed. So I guess, well, it's been an exciting journey till now.
Wow, it's amazing to know that work-life balance is such a unique concept. It's very easy to say that we have a work-life balance or we don't have it, but to actually experience it in real life is very difficult, different. Because work-life balance is something that people keep striving for, but it's not that easy. But we'll talk about work-life balance in a bit. Renuka, please tell us about your first book. Your first book was, Life Comes, no, Nights Are Alive,
Yes.
which was released in 2019. So it was before
Yeah.
COVID. So please tell us
Right.
about what this book is all about.
Okay, so after I quit banking, like I was a tutor for some time, but then impulsively I took up a job with recruiting process outsourcing company. Now I hail from Mumbai, and everybody knows like Mumbai is the city of dreams, and Mumbai never sleeps. So I used to always consider Baroda as a very sleepy city, and I felt like everything in Baroda used to shut down by 10 or 11. But when I took up this job, it was a night shift job. That is when I discovered that Baroda has got such a huge BPO industry, which caters to a lot of overseas clients, especially North America, and that's what prompted the title for this book, The Nights Are Alive, because I realized that the nights of Vadodara are alive. There are so many awesome BPOs, their offices are really swanky, and so the youth have got jobs over here, and because of them, okay, a lot of other ancillary businesses have also come up. So there are restaurants that are open at night, and trust me, like I was working with people half my age in this company, but I had such a good time because I came to know, I learned so much. I uh, we were recruiting for such very good positions in the US and Canada. People like technical heads of pharmaceutical companies, where salaries were to the tune of $300,000. And just imagine, we were screening the resumes, interviewing the prospective employees, and then passing it on. So I discovered something very different, and I decided to write a book about it. I also discovered the other side of the fun side of Vadodara, where I was taken to eateries on the highway, the dhabas which I'd never been to before, and then of course youngsters. So there was a lot of other partying and all that also involved, but it was very sweet. People who were like 10, 15 years younger than me, they included me in their group, and I worked for 1.5 years, but I really had a good time, and I conveyed that in my book. So that was my first book, The Knights Are Alive. So basically, the Knights of Vadodara are alive. It's not a sleepy city.
Yes, and I have been fortunate enough to visit Baroda last year. I was there for my conference, and it's the first thing that I noticed about Baroda is that it is a very clean city, and of course,
Yes.
it's a part of Gujarat, and with Gujarat we know everything about the geopolitical issues and everything there, but it's a very clean city, and Renuka has demonstrated the nightlife in this novel called The Knights Are Alive. Now, we will talk back about The Knights Are Alive in a bit, and I'll just ask Renuka to explain to us what the second novel called Life Comes a Full Circle, which is very recently released in March of 2024. So, tell us about the second book.
Okay, so life comes a full circle. So the thing is, after I wrote my first book, I I went back to Facebook because I was off Facebook, and I reconnected with some of my old colleagues in the bank, and my co-author Mahesh Nolaka. I connected with him after almost, I should say, a decade, and he read my first book, and he put forth this proposition of, Renuka, why not we write a book together? Now, I never had any intention of writing a book about my life in the bank because there were already too many authors who had done that. But then Mahesh gave me a very unique idea. He said, Renuka, why don't you write about my life? Because he hails from a rich farming family in UP, but then he moved on to the corporate world, and his first stint was in Mumbai, okay, in a publishing house. So, the glamorous world of Mumbai, something he had never, he had studied in Delhi, but Mumbai, the experience was totally different with Bollywood and everything. And then he becomes, so the story is fiction, but it is based on his life because there are a lot of incidences which I have changed. And then from publishing, he moves on to banking. So then what? So this book is basically traces a life of a boy who wants to make it big in the corporate world. So he goes to Mumbai first publishing, then he goes to the banking industry. Unfortunately, he becomes the victim of a scam, and he is on the verge of losing his job. So all that part is fiction, and then he encounters a rookie IPS officer, okay, who has a story of his own. He is investigating corruption amongst the police ranks in Ahmedabad. So now the story shifts from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. And while that IPS officer is investigating corruption in the police ranks, he stumbles upon this bank fraud. And he suspects the protagonist and his girlfriend in the fraud. So they investigate, and the IPS officer Gautam investigates. And while I was writing about Gautam, an idea struck me that why not I make it a detective series? Okay. So with that idea in mind, I introduced IPS officer Detective Gautam Mittal in this book. Okay. And so it's a total pot boiler because it's got all the spices of, should I say, a Rohit Shetty movie? Okay. So I had a lot of fun also writing it. And since I had to frequently travel to Ahmedabad, although I live in Vadodara, so I was able to recollect a lot of things about Ahmedabad. And so basically, life comes a full circle in the end. That, the readers, it would be nice if the readers read in the book why it comes a full circle. Okay, but I can guarantee you this is a fun read. And it's got all the spices because the reviews that I've received of this book is that it can easily be converted into a movie. God's whatever God wills.
It's very interesting to see that you have managed to think about and conceptualized two of the really practical aspects of life. One is the call center life, and the second is thinking about entrepreneurship and from moving from a banking industry to self-publishing and everything. And so, first thing that comes into mind when I first upheld your topic, your first book's title, The Knights Are Alive, is that how is that different from Chetan Bhagat's novel, One Night at the Call Center?
So, with due respect to Chetan Bhagat, like, see, right now I'm working as a tutor, and I'm basically dealing with 20, 25-year-olds. Okay, and just day before yesterday, I just mentioned Chetan Bhagat to my student, and he hadn't heard of Chetan Bhagat. With due respect to Chetan Bhagat. So, see, the thing is that that book is a call center. This book is about the recruitment process outsourcing industry. So
Yeah.
they too, it's just that it's a night shift job. Now this book, Nights Are Alive, traces the story of two middle-aged, means women in their 40s. Okay, they quit their regular jobs. They both of them are in good, very good, well-paying jobs. For personal reasons, they quit it and they just want a change in their life. So that is why they join this recruitment process industry. So in this job, I'm actually looking at an industry through the eyes of women who have already established themselves in their careers. Okay, but they don't need this job, but they take up this job for personal reasons. Okay, and experiences, like one person, for the first time in their life, in her life, okay, she has weed at the age of 42. Okay, so how, what she goes through. So the thing is that it is totally different, because that is just talking about that industry. Okay, but here I'm talking about people, how life, I'm talking about life over here. It is just based on this industry because I was fascinated by a different version of my city, which I've been living in for a decade, 2 decades now. So it does talk about parts of my city which I didn't know, were open the whole night. I didn't know that the police were patrolling for drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
And how people, youngsters, the partying that they have, the actual parties that they have, or after working full night on Saturdays, how they hang out with each other. So my book is more specific. Okay, one night at a call center was basically tracing six employees. Okay, how tough their life was in the call center, and then in the end they go out together for dinner or something like that, and their car gets stuck in something. But this book is different because it is actually looking at a different industry through the eyes of women in their 40s who have worked elsewhere. Okay, so that how different the management style is, and the different kinds of people you encounter, the personalities that you encounter. Because having been a banker, I was always used to formal style of dress in the office. Now this was a night shift job. They don't interact with clients, only on the phone. So nobody used to come formally dressed. So all these nuances are covered over here. And at the same time, the interesting jobs that they used to handle. Imagine trying to recruit for a plant head of a food manufacturing, or those big box departmental stores. You are recruiting for managers of such places. The life science industry, I was actually asked to find somebody who who knew how to do DNA, like make DNA. Okay, not the artificial DNA. So I'm telling you, I learned a lot of things by working in this job. So I feel it is totally different, because it's not superficially covered a call center. It is covered a recruitment industry in depth. So that's why I feel it is different.
Yeah, so your story is based on the recruitment process and the basically the job HR does, and not simply the life of people who are actually involved in call centers. So that is very,
Right.
very interesting and very enlightening to know that how different perspective this book brings to us. And the second one is more or less like a detective thriller, right? And so
Yes.
what next? I mean, your first book was in 2019. The second was in 2024. It is quite a long duration, and COVID pandemic came and went
COVID.
during during
Yes.
this process.
Yes.
So explain to us what you think about this hiatus that you took between the two books.
Actually, I was a bit demotivated by COVID because my book was released on September 2019. It was released by Crosswords Publishing House, and it was very dutifully put in all the Crosswords stores around India. And things were working absolutely fine till the lockdown happened in Feb, when everything shut down. And in fact, this publishing house, they also shut shop. Okay, so that kind of demotivated me. Then I started this other book with my co-author, and then we co-author na, so I was doing the writing part, and but the story was his. So we kind of had differences of opinion and things like that. And then I wanted to find the right publisher, because the publishing industry in India is it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be careful this time. So then finding the right publisher also was a challenge. So and then so that's why there was this gap of so many years between my first and second book, but that won't happen with my third book. So I'm sure of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, great, great. So, I have had some, dealings with Crosswords publication, and they told me I was talking to them about my own second novel, which I was looking to publish in a way that it will be published with offline, distribution to the Crossword bookstores and other bookstores. But they said that they actually shut down shop, and they stopped self-publication wing of their operations during COVID,
Yes.
and it is very,
Yes.
very disheartening to know. But
Hmm.
I love Crossword stores. I have been in Kolkata a lot of the time of my life, and I have been to Crossword stores. I mean, I used to visit Crossword stores a lot. But anyway, moving on. So, what is the next story going to be?
So the next story is about doctors. It is it revolves around a hospital in Marine Drive, Mumbai, my favorite place. So it's again a thriller, and lot of undercurrents that happened around like 2.5 decades ago surface. So this book is full of twists, but and it is centered around a hospital. And it is not again it's I would say that it's not a run of the mill book of a hospital, because the twists in this book are unbelievable. At least I feel that they're unbelievable. Okay, and it's based on twin brother and sister.
That is a unique twist, I would say. But okay, all the best in. Okay, what stage is this book in? I mean, are you?
Actually, it's completely done. But the
Uh,
problem is, recently I read a couple of new books. Like I read Orbital, and then I read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. And after reading that writing style, now I am doubting my own writing style. So I'm trying to make my book little bit different, like the writing. The actual book is already done, and I've changed it so many times. But I'm just trying to make it a bit more of, instead of that regular, it was 10:30 at night and an ambulance came in, and instead of that, na, I'm trying to change the writing style. So that is where it is stuck at the moment.
Self-publishing, that is completely different ball game altogether. You know, I have had my own dealings with self-publishing, but tell the viewers about your journey with self-publishing.
So, like crossword, uh, see, I don't want to, put anybody, like speak badly about anybody, but see, the issue is, uh, you have to give them, like they have a package for you. So sometimes what happens is the editor is not good. So then you have, like, I had to re-edit both my books. Okay, and I conveyed it also. I conveyed my displeasure to the second publisher, that it should not have happened this way. Then another issue is they promise you the moon, but you don't you don't even get a ray of light, because like the video part of the package was the video, which wasn't. I mean, it was the video of my book was so bad that I was ashamed to show it to anybody, and they couldn't get it right. So, my advice to anybody who is going in, for self-publishing, because see, waiting for, if I can be extremely candid, uh, another reason why there was a big delay between the first book and the second book was the publisher. Because for the second book, I thought I should go for traditional publishing. Okay, and I did approach a literary agent, but that was a nightmarish experience. And then I learned that, okay, you want to be successful as a writer, you need to shell out, you need to have a marketing plan which, it goes in lakhs of rupees. So if you don't do that, no traditional publisher is going to touch your book, no matter how. I mean, that is what the literary agent told me to my face. He said that it doesn't matter how good your story is, you need to have a very solid marketing plan, which I wasn't willing to spend lakhs of rupees. And then I realized that there are other ways to do it. So after my second book was published, I realized there were so many groups that were formed of aspiring authors like me. Okay, and everybody shared their story. And now what we have all realized is we don't have to pay a lakh or a lakh and a half or 2 lakhs to a publisher. There are other ways to do it, and there are other ways to market your book. You have given us a platform where at least our voice can be held. So I am so grateful to have the support of people like you and the other wonderful groups that I am in. So self-publishing is okay when you just want to launch yourself, but I would advise first-time authors not to spend a lot of money on this. Okay, because end of the day you have to market your own book, or you need to spend something like 5 to 10 lakhs on marketing. Okay, then you will become a best-selling author within see, my own book was number 6 on Amazon, and when it reached number 6, I got a call saying that I should invest 15,000 rupees to take the Prime membership. And I am sure if I had invested 15,000, I would have reached the number 1 best-selling. Okay, but then I didn't do it at that time. I mean, I was busy with some other work and all that, and it just slipped my mind. So everything is, I mean, I'm sorry for saying this, but end of the day, everything matters. Money is what matters. So self-publishing, do it to launch yourself initially, to give you some confidence, but afterwards explore other options.
That is a very sad scenario, and I completely agree with you because I have faced things that you explained, and I'm glad that TLB, the Digital City, has given us a platform that we self-published authors, which we can term ourselves as indie authors, we have found a platform which actually looks about the author. I mean, TLB, the Digital City, is going to be a full-fledged publishing house in the future, but for now it is just a just a place where all the readers and all the authors can connect from around the globe. And the self-publishing scenario in India is so bad, so depressing, that there are so many good authors, so many people who have stories to tell. They don't even come forward with their stories because of the situation, because the self-publishing houses are basically, they are businesses. They don't care about the readers, they don't care about the authors, they only care about the packages. So you pay a sum of money and they give you a package. They, regardless of what kind of a book you have written, they give you a bestseller status. And I have mentioned in many of my videos as well, bestseller status, at least in India, as far as I know, can be bought. And it is very interesting time that we are having this conversation now, because the Delhi World Book Fair is actually ongoing, and your book is going to be featured in one of the stalls, and of course I'm going to be there next week as well. So tell us about Delhi World Book Fair, how you found this opportunity to feature your book on in the book fair.
So it's really ironic because the stall in which my book is going to be featured is right in front of my publisher's stall. Okay.
And not your publisher's stall?
I'm not going through my publisher's stall because I told them also he's charging 10 times what I have to pay for the stall in which my book is being showcased. Okay. So the thing is that again, like this group that we are in, so there is another group, like you said, no, indie authors.
Yep.
So we have all got together and we paid for a stall. Okay. So all our books, so there might be at least 200 authors over there in this stall. So my book is going to be in that stall. And the same thing happened in the Pune Book Fair. Okay, so we had a stall over there. And believe me, I went for 3 days Pune Book Fair and I managed to sell 20 books. Means I shouldn't say 3 days because I was there only for 1.5 days. But I could sell 20 books. I went there, I personally stood there and interacted with the people, and 20 of my books were sold. So the thing is, we need to visit, as authors, we need to visit the fairs, we need to tell people about our books, and if they find it interesting, they will. So my fingers are crossed about Delhi but I had in Ahmedabad Book Fair and Pune Book Fair, with God's grace, I had a very good response. So my fingers are crossed for Delhi. I hope that I'm able to double the numbers over there.
So all the best to you. And from what you have explained, it means, which is something that I know and many of the people know, but it is again reiterating the fact that just writing a book is not the whole story. You can become a writer, you can become an author, but to sell your books, you have to become a marketing agent for yourself. Unless you have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rupees for another literary agent, for promotion, for PR agents who actually give you reviews, who actually give you promotional materials, and sometimes even if you pay, you don't get what you actually expect. I mean, it's not a transparent market, unfortunately. As you said, you received a video trailer for your book, which was something which you were ashamed to tell anybody, to show to anybody, and this happens all the time. I'm very very frustrated by this myself, but it's great to see that you have contacted your own peers, our peers, and actually went ahead and featured your book in the book fair. So people who are joining us on YouTube and Instagram, please note that Renuka Nair's books, both of the books, will be featured in New Delhi World Book Fair, which actually started yesterday, and it will be going on till 9th of February. Do go. What stall number is this?
Yeah, so I'll post it on Instagram. It is stall number, just a second, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it is so it is the Aspiring Authors of India stall, and it is in Hall 6, and the stall number is T14, hall number 6, T14.
So the name itself suggests that if you are a reader and if you want to support indie authors, the authors who actually give their sweat and blood to stories which you would like, which you would love, apart from all the bureaucracy that is going on in the self-publishing and traditional publishing companies that is present in India, do go to this stall, indie publishing communications, aspiring authors in
Aspiring
India,
authors, yeah.
and do give a look, and of course give your reviews, give your views about the books which are featured there, especially the books which Renuka has written here. So the nights are alive and life comes a full circle. So you talked about life comes a full circle. Is it going to be a series?
So Detective Gautam Mittal, definitely. I've already started 4 books. So the second book is featuring him totally. He falls in love in the second book. Okay.
Oh.
And then in the third book, and he falls in love, and then he discovers a shocking secret of his wife, which even she didn't know. Okay. In this book. So she is a aspiring neurosurgeon. okay, in this book. And she comes to study in her dream hospital. I mean, there are some hospitals, no, where for specializations, like people love to do their MD over there.
Yeah.
So the hospital which I was talking about is her dream hospital. And then she discovers things about her life which she never knew. Like she realizes that she was living a lie. So basically, so this is the second book. Then the third is third had started out as Facebook murders, but then today Facebook is like only old people go to Facebook, so I need to change it. Right, so I need to change it. That is a psycho, means it's a psycho thriller, as serial killer. And then so he will feature in a couple of books. Okay, there is a fourth, there's another book in which Detective Gautam Mittal will feature. That is also a murder mystery. So all these books are work in progresses, but the second one where he falls in love will be published in 2025.
Oh, amazing, amazing. I'm actually looking forward to your complete series of Gautam Mittal. And tell us about your editing process. So we talked about the self-publishing process. We talked about a lot of things, but as an author, and I'm talking about this because we are a platform where there are so many aspiring authors. We talk about people who have just begun writing or who have published a few of their works, but they are reluctant on coming forward with more of their work because of the entire process. Because of course, writing is just one small part of being an author. Unfortunately, this is the case. So tell us about your editing process.
So basically, I had to edit both my books, okay, because the editor messed it up. In fact, in the second book, literally, in the second book, the editor removed all the past perfect tense and made everything present tense, which was like, I just couldn't, it blew my mind. So, and then during COVID, what happened was a lady who's an editor in India, I got in touch with her, and she had so much of work during COVID because I think almost maybe 40% of the population decided to become writers during COVID,
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
during the
This is
lockdown.
something that,
Right?
yes.
So she had so much of work, so she downloaded work to me. So in those 3 months, I have edited hell of a lot of books for her. So I got so much exposure into editing. I edited the book of an Indian lady settled down in Paris. Like she's a French citizen now. She wrote a book on spirituality. Then I edited a self-help book, and another third book written by an Irish lady. So that has given me, and now my own tutoring experience, because I coach students for TOEFL and IELTS, and so there also they have to write essays. So I'm on a daily basis correcting English only. Right. So but professional editors, so they do charge a lot, okay, because they've started charging 1 rupee 50 paisa per word. So when you are talking about a 50-word novel, you imagine how much you're paying your editor.
Yeah, 50,000
Right.
words.
Yeah. So that is also a very, but the professional editors are good, because I have come across some amazing editors, and I am also in an Indian editors forum group. So there are some in my own city. So they are mainly into technical editing, but fiction editing really needs somebody who's passionate about fiction, because you have to understand what that person is trying to say. Why has that person used continuous tense, or why has that person used past perfect? Okay, you have to understand these things. So editing, as you said, a story is one thing, but if it's not put across properly, people will not enjoy reading it.
Yeah, the most important thing about books is that consuming what you have written, reading a novel, reading a book is supposed to be an enjoyable experience. It's not supposed to be a task. And people read books because they enjoy it, they love it. And reading a book is a hobby for so many people. And it is something that I have enjoyed learning from you, that you are actually professionally editing other people. And so people who are joining us live on the stream, please note that Renuka is not only an author and a tutor, she is also a professional editor who will actually, take your work and make it better, because editing is something.
I won't charge 1 rupee 50 paisa. Don't worry. I won't fleece you on that. That is for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And editing is very difficult work, because just taking a manuscript which is maybe 50,000 words or maybe 100,000 words, and bringing it not only to reduce the word count, but also to make it crisp, make it presentable, make it likable for the reader. It's a great job. So how did you start editing? I mean, you started as an author and you have so many roles. I'm getting so excited and so intrigued by your life. So you started with Mumbai. You have been born and raised in Mumbai, and then you shifted to Baroda, and you have had so many professional responsibilities as your career, and then you have started writing, and then you have started editing. So tell us about your how did this happen?
See, the thing is that before my first novel, no, before I didn't have the guts usual first time authors. I never had the guts to show it to somebody. So then I just went online and I saw many editors. So I approached a couple of them, but I was not very happy with them. Then I met this one lady. So she charged me some 10 or 20,000 rupees to read my book. Okay. And so she encouraged me. But trust me, the first draft was it was pathetic. So then I kept in touch with her. Okay. And then my husband's friend also read my first draft. And he also told me that, no, you have to change it. Okay. You have to rewrite the whole thing. You have to make it fun. So, but I kept in touch with this first lady. And then during COVID, so we were interacting on the phone and all. And then she saw my book and she liked what I had done with it. So during COVID, she only asked me, would you like to do editing? Because anyway, you're good in English. So and she had a lot of work. So she kind of, and I really loved it, because I was simultaneously editing 3-4 different genres of books. And that self-help, because she didn't want to do self-help. She was more happy with fiction. So, and believe me, that French lady, the book that she wrote, she had written about yoga, she had written about, Corinthians. I mean, she quoted the Bible and all that. So all those books, because I studied in a convent school in Mumbai. So I was familiar with the Bible and everything. So then she was very happy to download all this work to me, Renuka, do this. So that is how I got into it, But then now, because of AI and all that, like editing is kind of, because everybody is using tools now. So editing has been dialed. So that physical editing, I don't know how many people are still doing it. Because, I feel that you're paying hell of a lot of money to get the computer to do stuff for you. So I don't know. I think it's going to become a dead industry now, editing with AI.
Yeah, when you bring
Maybe,
about
I don't
the
know.
topic of AI, it is actually painful that AI has taken over so much of the fun out of the reading and writing industry. I mean, we can't even be sure that the book that we are reading, the best-selling authors that we love nowadays, maybe their work is based on AI, or maybe they have used AI for whatever, maybe editing, maybe correcting their grammar, maybe making their work even more attractive based on AI. So nowadays we don't even know what is AI and what is not. And we have in TLB, the Digital City, we have had competitions on writing and everything, and we have used tools to detect whether a submission is AI or not, and it is very difficult. I mean, it's very frustrating to see that even the AI tools can't say whether a submission is AI based or not. So we are in a very difficult situation, and I think it is going to stay this way for another 5 to 10 years. By the time AI will actually evolve so much to actually be differentiated from what a human can write and what AI has written. But
Correct.
till that time, it is what it is. So AI is going to stay. AI is not going anywhere, and we just have to evolve with AI.
With AI, correct.
You have written two novels and many more, three or four more are coming. And what do you think is going to keep you in this business? Because it's not, uh, it's not a business proposition. At least in India, the self-publishing market is not a business proposition. You can't expect to earn a living of writing books. So, what is your plan for the future as far as the financial thing is concerned?
So, I have analyzed the market a lot with the help of my fellow authors, and I know that I am not going to spend money on anything which is not going to give me a return. I will continue writing because I love to write. I love to make a story. So when I write, I am like that person. So I'm kind of living that person's life. So I will continue writing, and I will continue to find platforms where I can showcase my book to people who want to read without spending too much money, because as you said, the returns are like, they're nothing compared to what you have spent, right?
Yeah.
So I will and fortunately, there are people out there who understand this. So I will work out deals with them, and so there was a time when even we authors had formed a group where we were buying and reviewing each other's books, just to get it out there. Because if you see, like, Amazon has become the benchmark
Yep.
today. You become a best-selling author in Amazon, or you get n number of reviews in Amazon, then you're considered to have arrived. But I have seen authors who, they're mainly in the media, and they've become authors. So they have just 4 reviews on Amazon, but everybody's talking about their book. Why? Because they're already in the media industry. So they are able to publicize their books. Okay, they have a foreword written by a famous actress. So people notice their books. So I mean, I don't have that kind of like luck, or I don't have that backing, but still I will continue to try in my own small way.
Your story is, in fact, to be very honest, I was not thinking of this interview to go this way, because we have talked about authors and we have talked about indie authors. Their stories are more focused on how they started writing and on what their books are all about. And it is very interesting to see that this conversation is going in this direction, where you are talking about self-publishing and how to bring your work to the people in a meaningful way. I mean, it's very interesting to, interesting to be interacting with you. And I'm sure TLB, the Digital City, will be a great platform for you and other people who can interact with you to learn from your experience and actually take your services basically in the editing arena. And whatever you have learned, you can share with other people. So the last
Definitely.
question of today's conversation: if you were the same person that you are today, and you started writing the book you had written in 2019, 5 or 6 years ago, what would you change?
Um, See, I don't think I would change anything, because to be very honest, when I went in the Ahmedabad book fair, okay, I ran into a colleague I worked with in that recruitment RPO. Okay, he was the first person who bought my book in the Ahmedabad book fair, and I didn't have a hard copy of the book. In fact, this book was not even on display in the book fair. Life Comes a Full Circle was on display because I didn't have hard copies of The Nights Are Alive. But I made a bookmark of my books, so then the QR code, you can scan it and get the book. Now this guy lives in Nadiyad, which is between Ahmedabad and Baroda. He came to Baroda, he went to Baroda Crossword, and he purchased my book from there. Even I didn't know that it was available in Crossword. And he read it. Then he came to meet me in my office, and he told me that it was, means he really liked. I don't want to use the word mind blowing because I'll be narcissistic if I do that. But he was so happy after reading it. he listed down the names of the people, and he asked me, now you tell me who is who, because he wasn't even able to relate, with the people we worked with. So I would say that I was blessed that I met him, because it encouraged me. And so after that, feedback, I would say that honestly, because I worked a lot for this book. It took me 3 years to get it in shape, because it was my first book. Okay. So I don't think I would change anything in this book. But in my second book, I would change one chapter. There was one chapter I didn't like, but I kept it only for my co-author. He requested me, please keep this chapter. First book I wouldn't change anything, but second book I would change one chapter. Sorry, I deviated from your question.
Oh, no. Of course. No, it's a great. I mean, what you explained is like it's surreal to have a reader, technically a consumer of what we have produced, to come back and give us a feedback like that. It's surreal and it is a blessing. I congratulate you for being an author in this scenario, and in having had such an experience. And of course, we'll be looking forward to more works from you and more insights from you, because you appear to be not just an author who has published her books, but you are in the thick of it, the publishing process, the editing process. And I think that our conversations will keep on engaging people more and more as the days come. Right now we haven't had any comments on Instagram or anything, but anyway, it has been so nice talking to you, Renuka. And of course, unfortunately I haven't read your books as of now, but I will very soon. With this, let us bid a good evening to everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Renuka, for being with us. And let us see where we go from here in TLB, the Digital City. So everybody who has joined on Instagram and YouTube, thank you so much for taking your time out. Do visit the New Delhi World Book Fair and check out Renuka's books. And Renuka's books are also available on Amazon. Do check it out. So that is all for this conversation. That is all for this interview. We'll be back with another installment of author interview from TLB, the Digital City. Do join TLB, the Digital City. And of course, don't forget that TLB has now an official website called tlbcity.com, www.tlbcity.com, where you can have a look on all the previous episodes of author interviews, all the other aspects that we do. Because TLB, the Digital City, is not just an online book club. It is a haven for artists of all genre and all cadres. We have a musicians circle, we have chess competitions, we have artists taking us through their work on digital media, as well as on physical drawings and sketches and everything. And of course, there is the baseline, the authors connecting with the readers. So TLB, the Digital City, has it all. Thank you so much, and have a good evening, have a good Sunday. We'll be back with another episode very soon.
Thank you very much, TLB Digital City, and thank you, Dr. Atul. It was a wonderful interaction. Thank you very much. Yeah.